Sorry for the delay. I had to get to the right place. So welcome everybody. We're very happy you're here. I'm very glad to be here also for the opportunity to be with Binduji today. And there's been some really good classes for the Taittiriya happening. Thank you to Prakash, who's not here yet, but for moderating those. And I've been listening to them on replays. The last one I listened to, I think, 3 times now. So they're very excellent, and we have the opportunity today to just be together and really explore where we are with understanding the teachings and also our more general Advaita questions on our own journey in our life. So please come up and let's just be together more informally than we are during the week and discuss things together. Also, please know that if you come up on the speaker panel, you're more than welcome to just stay while the conversation continues. I know it's just a visual app with the pictures we each post, but it is a way of feeling more together as a group and supporting each other. And then, of course, you're welcome to join back in respectfully when any interaction has ended with Binduji. So if anyone has anything that they would like to bring forward right now, please do that. Just for the sake of people who might come new to the replays, there are the replays available here on the ongoing Taittiriya class that happens on Wednesday and Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST regularly. And there are additional replays available on the YouTube channel called Advaita Retold, which you can also search on YouTube with Advaitic Talks. And right now the Q&As are here still, I believe. There's another announcement I'm going to make at the end of the class when more of us are here as a larger group. But that's it for now. If anyone would love to raise their hand, welcome Venkat. Then just please raise your hand and come on up. Welcome, Shobha. If you'd like to speak, you're welcome to. Would you like to?
Yes. Thank you, Artemisia. Hari Om Mudaya.
Hari Om.
So, in the last Taittiriya class, I heard you say that Atma Bhava Padam, is it the same as Swabhava or is there any difference to it?
Both are same, Atma Bhava and Swabhava. Not the Swabhava of the exhibits of the body, mind, intellect, but of the self.
Yes.
Okay. Because Swabhava is also used in a very loose term as, the behavior of the body, mind, intellect complex. But that is more of a behavior rather than the reality of the individual.
So it should never be taken as, yes, because in Brahman there is no behavior. So
yes.
Swabhava is just, it is referred to, with a different terminology like expression, projecting and all that. But bhava, okay. Then
Swasmani samsthanam is swasya bhava. Abiding in oneself. Swatmani samsthanam is swabhava. That is abiding in oneself, one's true nature, is what is called the swabhava.
And is it also tadatmya sambandha?
There is no tadatmya sambandha because there are no two in it. See, tadatmya tasya tadatmani iti tadatmyam. That is accepting oneself as others, other one, is what is actually tadatmyam.
Then
so the mother feeling the pain of the child and crying along with the child or something like that is the tadatmyam of the mind of the mother associating with the pain of the child, which is in the mind of the child. So, but that is not the mother feeling, I am the child. I am not different from my child. That feeling can never come between mother and the child. So that is why the difference between these two is very, very crystal clear and should not be confused between one another.
So then, Ghataha Tadatmya Sambandhena Swasmin Vartate. What does it mean there?
Nyaya terminologies are different. Don't take it in the Advaita.
Okay.
Because in the Nyaya terminology, there are many, Navavida, Dravyani Navavidani. Right? So, in Advaita, there's Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. So, therefore, there is a difference between Nyaya and Advaita.
Okay. But can you explain then how it is said there so I can understand this better also?
So, what was the statement?
Ghataha Tadatmya Sambandhena Swasmin Vartate.
Ghataha Tadatmya Sambandhena Swasmin Vartate means Ghata Nama Rupena Mriti Vartate. That is, in the mud, in the form of name and form, the pot entity, the entity of a pot is separate as per the Nayayika, and the mud is entity separate from the Nayayika's point of view. Mrit, Prithvi. So, in the Prithvi, to Ghada Sadatmya Sambandhena Vartate, the Swasmin means, in the Nama Rupaina, that is become the qualities of Ghada. The Ghada becomes Ghada only because of Nama Rupa quality in it. So that in the Mrit, even it is breathing, that aspect is called Ghadaha, that is the pot in the form of the name and form is called pot, is residing in the mud and calling itself as pot. Now, the mud is not in the Tadatmya with the pot. That is also you have to understand. That is, mud is not identifying itself with the pot.
Okay.
Only the pot is identifying itself with the mud. Because the mud cannot have a Tadatmya with something out of which, it can be a doll, it can be a lamp, or it can be any other thing made of mud. So they are in the Tadatmya, means in the Bhava, in the identification with the mud. But the quality of their respective name and forms will become the differentiator. That differentiator is dissolved in the substratum of mud to take into effect the object called pot or doll, etc.
Okay. So then we can apply this to all the objects.
All objects are, that is why Tadatmyena Atmani Vartate, if you say that, then if it is in the Atma, it has a name and form, then you are coming to Advaita.
So, in Advaita, then, object, such as the body. So,
yes.
How would you make that statement?
The body, when it Tadatmyena Atmani Vartate, when it is in identifying with the self, the name and form becomes an attribution, not Sat. It becomes an illusory difference between the two, because it cannot have the name and form as separate from the Atma, because name and form also becomes Vak and Rupa, which are the qualities of, Shabda Gunagam and Rupa Gunagam of Akasha and fire. Now, Akasha and fire are not separate from Atma, because Atmani Akasha Sambhuda Akasha Vayu Agni, that format. So, the name and form are not separate from the Atman, but Atman is not in the name and form. The name and form is in Atman.
Yes.
Like I said about the mud and the pot.
Yes. Okay. Then the Nirguna Brahman you talked about. So,
yes.
Nirguna, because everything you explained this in a previous class that all the gunas are existing in Brahman only. So even in that state where it is just being Brahman, can we say Nirguna there? It is always Nirguna then, isn't it?
See, Nirguna and Sarvaguna, that should not be confused with it. The reason being that when you cannot separate out one guna from the another guna, we call it as Nirguna. There is no other guna which you can separate out. That can happen only when all the gunas are merged into one substratum.
And they are.
The normal, that normal way explanation what we can give to that is that if you mix all color, you get white. If you rotate with your disc, you get a white disc, no?
Yes.
So when they stand separate. United, they become one. And that time there is no guna which you can segregate. Therefore, it is called Nirguna.
Yes.
Not that it doesn't have any guna.
Right. Okay. Understood, Mahodaya. So the diversity is the Saguna.
So diversity is attributions based on the Vastu.
Right. The apparent division.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. You have answered my question. Thank you, Mahodaya.
Thank you, Shiva. Namaste, Venkat.
Hari Om Vidaji. So this is in my question is going to be in the preparation towards the upcoming chapters. Vidaji. So here there is a Srushti and Pravesha. There is two distinct. It is distinctly handled in the Upanishad. That yasya gnanamayam tapaha. That iti shityantarat apta kama tvacha itarasya asambhava eva tapaha tat tapaha atapyata taptavan. That this the one who's in the form of knowledge, this is gnanamayam tap, that creates. If we tally that with what is happening in the worldly life, even if you want to build a house, the blueprint of the house is sitting in the head. Then when you actually do it will create the house. That gnana, that blueprint is sitting there and led to the creation of the house. Or you take a chemical reaction, there is a heat applied to form that equation, right? That it emerges. Conversion of one form to another, one compound to another, is that heat either generated or applied, leading to chemical reaction. This tapas is that little uniqueness of this tapas in converting that avyakruta to vakruta. This tapas is coming in this order in terms of that srushti, the creation. Entry will postpone it. It is like a bird building a nest, and it enters and to live there. This srushti is this tapas is become a little unique. This we not handled tapas before. This tapa in the application of that knowledge in moving from avyakruta to vakruta. The role of tapas is that Agni coming in the way. What is applied to convert in any why this Agni is so important? Why tapas is so important in this whole?
Sir, you should not take tapas as Agni or a heat or anything like that.
Okay.
The word tapas is austerity.
Okay.
Austerity, the typical meaning, not the heat or any energy used for the tapas, or any what you call physical, torture onto the body or mind or intellect or anything of that sort. Here in the Satya Jnanamayam Tapaha means, what does it mean? When it is in purity of knowledge. That purity of knowledge itself is the tapas, or the nature and which he is identifying with himself. One who identifies himself as the pure knowledge or awareness or consciousness, he is abiding or he is doing a tapas, or he is in a state of tapas. You can say that way. So that is here where what we have to understand, because in Mundaka also the same word has come. The same mantra is actually quoted from the Mundaka Upanishad where this was discussed. So when it is in the form of consciousness, the activities which appear to be taking place in consciousness is actually not activities. They are nothing but vrittis of the consciousness itself due to the nature of the object in where this vrittis is happening. Like the ripples in the water. The ripples in the water is not actually water getting the ripples. It is the appearance of ripples due to a disturbance in the water. But it is not, the water molecules are by themselves are not moving. It is the disturbance is the one which is moving in the water, not the water is moving. Same way, consciousness is not going to do anything. This vritti with association with the mind, the object, the thoughts and everything creates the ripple in the mind. And the mind is nothing but a reflection, like a pot or a trough with water, where the light is getting reflected. So the sun appears to be dancing in the ripples, but the sun, which is real sun, doesn't go through any ripples. So we have to understand the tapa in a different, meaning altogether, as when it is said Jnanamayam tapa means it is in pure consciousness only. That itself is the abidance in our consciousness is called the tapas. In this particular portion of the Taittiriya Upanishad.
I think if you take it this way, Mandoji, that avyakruta to vyakruta, how do we explain that avyakruta to vyakruta, all the nama rupas, from that garbha, right, from Hiranyagarbha, how the vyakruta conversion happening? That what is the attribution there?
Okay. Now, when you are imagining something, you said the blueprint is in the brain, and it becomes a building. When the blueprint is in the brain, does it have anything separate from the consciousness or awareness or the intelligence?
It is not.
It is not. It is that itself now ready to take shape in the form of a building when it is transferred into material. Right? Same way, when the avyakrita, where there is no manifestation, when alochana or kama, soa kamayata, bahusyam prajayeti, that type of a thought or the ripple takes place in that intelligence, the nama rupa vyakaravani. It is in the name and form which comes up in the intellect itself, or in the what you call consciousness, which is now being felt at the intellectual level. So in the Brahman, in the consciousness, there is no feeling of anything, thought. But the feeling, it is just like I told you, the sun, when it is shining, doesn't give like, it'll appear as if there is no light at all from the point of view of the sun. But there is any one object in the space, and the sun reflects. The light of the sun, when it is reflected onto the object starts shining. Same way, the consciousness, is all intelligence or conscious awareness as Brahman or Atman of the self of the individual. And when the name, thought and form and the name, it appears in the intelligence. You cannot say intelligence had the name and form. No. The intelligence is the place where it is shining, but it is shining due to the presence of the Atma. But you cannot say the name and form was in the Atma or the consciousness. In consciousness, it cannot be experienced because there is no instrument for experiencing. Like the sun had the light, but it cannot see the light. Only it could see the light only when it was reflected on an object. Same way, the intelligence or the awareness cannot say had the name and form, but the name and form gets exposed or seen as existing when it is the light of the consciousness is reflecting on the intellect. That is how the Vyakritam becomes Vyakritam.
So, Binduji, in that case, we have to classify tapas into two categories. One is category of aptakama. The other is a category of, selfish behavior or, desire, selfish desire. That's a different tapas. Then there are two categories of tapas, no?
Selfishness and everything, you cannot call it as tapas at all. Because they are all functions of the mind or the intellect due to avidya. That you cannot call it as a tapas.
Like a student, planning to get exams, completed. There is that goes on for years to fructify it. There is a component or a flavor of tapas there versus this is, selfless. There's no, simply creation. There's no, the desire to create is simply there. Hence creation continues. Versus the domain of desire to pass an exam, working for years. So how do we categorize these? That is my question, actually.
The working of a student for the purpose of exam and all is the effects of avidya. We may call it as a tapas or an austerity by the student because it is not his natural way of working. He is putting extra effort and all. Those are all manushya tapas, not the tapas from the point of view of knowledge or Brahman.
Correct. So then there is no comparison between these two.
No, there is no comparison between these two. Sorry, there is a disturbance under the background. If it is disturbing, I'll keep quiet for some time.
Okay, no problem.
Binduji, just so you know, we're actually still able to hear you very clearly, even though we hear there's something in the background.
Yeah, Jay, you can go ahead with your question. It will be a long, winding question.
I'm trying to concise it. Thanks, Binduji. Actually, I was thinking it's actually a long question. I'm trying to make it concise. See, Binduji, from the wholeness point of view, only it is the real reality. Only it exists. But then, for whatever reason, over evolution or Maya illusion or whatever, this ahankara component of the four parts of the mind has come into existence. Now, my main focus of the question is, surely there is a purpose for this ahankara in the social life, because when the body's preservation is needed, then ahankara is the one which helps the body's preservation by fighting with the society, because if you don't protect yourself in the society, everybody will steal everything from you and then we will be in trouble. So, looks like there is a purpose for this ahankara. So, I request you to elaborate on, even though this whole of ahankara is a thought projected, transient, and its purpose is to take care of the body. It itself doesn't have any reality. It is a projection. I agree with all these things, but it has got a purpose to serve. But My question is, how much balance of this ahankara is okay? In the sense, yes, I don't want to steal from everybody, be the biggest, richest guy, but I need to survive also. So, even though this ahankara is unreal, like it itself doesn't have a reality, it is like a transient wave. I mean, it's not even worth wave, it is purely a projection. So, how much using of this ahankara is okay and how much it is not okay?
See, Jai, the thing is that ahankara is something similar to a clay pot. The clay pot by itself is not real except for the mud. Same way, when the ahankara is considered and when you are considered that as a requirement for your body survival and maintenance, all those things when you are talking from a state of what is called the imagined individual called Jai. The imagined individual Jai has no reality so much as the imagined what you call ahankara of Jai. For the imagined Jai is required, but in reality neither Jai is real nor his ahankara is real. So when you are asking for the purpose of ahankara, it is purely from the point of view, what was the food required for the dreamer to satisfy his hunger is exactly what is the ahankara required for an individual in what your transactional world. Both are similar. The dreamer satisfies his hunger with his imaginary food. As far as the dreamer is concerned, it is real. Same way, your ahankara is real as long as you don't realize yourself. That is why you feel that it is necessary for your survival, the world, etc., etc.
Thank you, Binduji. So, because this ahankara is inside the dream, it is immaterial. Even if he eats only one morsel of rice per day, or he eats sampat, buffet and everything, it is immaterial. It doesn't matter. It is illusion anyway. Is that this? But if you put it from that point of view, Binduji, then for this ahankara, there's but the ahankara is not accepting it. No, he is my child. He has to pass in his exam. He should have future. It is my country. Somebody should not attack. There are so many things inside the dream is there. So inside the dream, whatever hell this imaginary personality does, it is immaterial. I don't care. Let us not even speak about it. The only purpose, if at all we are speaking Advaita, is to know that reality in which all this Maya happens. Is it?
Jai, only when you realize what is your true nature as not Jai, but you are the supreme Atman, which is equal to Brahman, then only you will realize that like the dreamer's food, the Jai's ahankara is also the same way. But when remaining in the dream, the dreamer's food is very much real for the dreamer, and without that he will go hungry. Same way, without the ahankara, this Jai will go through the problems of not having ahankara in this world. But is the Jai the reality? Are you the Jai? Are you the physical body? Are you the mental body-mind complex?
Okay, Binuji. So that is why you don't even want to give a solution to this Jay's hunger. Like whatever problem Jay which is like a dream for the wholeness, then from Advaita point of view, there is no answer, there is no solution. It is Maya. Don't even talk about it. If at all, one thing you can do, know that you are the whole. That's the only advice anybody can give. How to be richer, how to have stable job, how to take care of family and all these are all anyway in the dream. So from Advaita point of view, don't even talk about it. It is immaterial. Whatever the universe runs, let it run. So don't bother about it. If at all in Advaita circle you are coming, this is the only answer for any problem. Is it?
Yes. Because even when you are now thinking about you and your problems and all, there are millions and millions of people with millions of problems. That is none of them affecting you. Why are you not worried about that? You should be equally worried about all the people and all their problems. if the world is real. What you do not know is not your problem. That is why, isn't it? So when you think that it is yours, then there is a problem. The child of yours will get sick, you are worried. But the child of neighbor gets sick, oh, you will sympathize or empathize with that, but you will not feel the same pain or the same association. It is all from the point that you have associated yourself now with the physical Jai, and all the problems of Jai is real because you are thinking you are the physical Jai.
Thank you, Binduji. Actually, in one of the questions to Nisarata Maharaj, somebody comes and asks, hey, Maharaj, are you not worried because in Bangladesh so many people are dying and killing each other? Then Nisarata Maharaj coolly says, there is so many galaxies which are created and destroyed every day. If we have to worry, then there is so much to worry. So, yeah, I just remembered that. Thanks, Binduji. Okay, I mean, you are coming back to that main point. Either the wholeness or inside this thing, it is immaterial. Thank you very much. That is confining the scope of our search. Thank you.
So thank you everyone who's come up so far. Welcome, Prakash also. Although you're, of course, the moderator, just to be sure that you feel welcome to bring forward any questions. If you have any, just one moment, hold on, or points you'd like to raise to be discussed. So we have a wonderful group here now. We still have maybe even an hour or so to bring forward what we've been considering in our own path for everyone to share and to have Binduji give us support with. So please, anyone feel free to raise your hands, and please don't hold back if you'd like to. Sorry, my connection was bad for a moment. If you'd like to come up and discuss with Binduji, we'll all benefit a lot. So, yeah. Prakash, did you want to say anything at this point?
Namaste, Pranam, Artemisia. Namaste, Pranam, Binduji.
Pranam, Prakash.
So this question, this Jay brings up, and many people ask about this. Is it just a lack of understanding with clarity, or is it lack of practice, sadhana? Can you address that aspect, Binduji?
It is both. The lack of understanding, proper understanding, and putting that into practice is the reason why these lingering questions are never getting, satisfactorily solved in their intellect. Because even when the explanations are being content, this is, I keep telling again and again, that what Upanishad is teaching is about you. So when it is being told, we have to think that it is about me and I have to apply that. Nowhere else I can apply this knowledge other than on me, because it is not an external knowledge which you can experiment in a lab or any other place. The only lab is your mind, and that mind can work only on you, on yourself, or on itself. So when it is understood properly as it is an instruction for oneself to do and practice it in oneself, that should be done with earnestness and what you call Shraddha Dana Tapa, and what is all called that Shraddha and Tapas. Tapas means with the utmost clarity of knowledge, and Shraddha means taking that. Is it possible? The doubt is there, then it will be again diluted. You will have to remove the doubt. Unless you practice it, how can the doubt go? You have to apply it on yourself. Because we are not talking about anything outside you, not even our body. So, when it is happening that, unless that is taken up earnestly and with seriousness and dedication, these questions will keep up coming and again and again. That is why I always say that there are the three type of impediments. Ajnana, which is removed by listening to the Upanishad. If you have properly listened, the Ajnana will should go. That and for the most apt student, listening directly once removes all his misconception. But we are all not that apt student. We all have bundles of memories and preconceived notions, and what you call hang up to our individuality or the ego. Then the other two are samshaya and viparya, doubt. Is it something possible? And viparya is the wrong notion. Some people will consider that, this is all being talked about the mind. No, mind is also a physical object of the body. But it is the subtlest object where, these things can be understood and applied. So, only when the viparya is gone, viparita jnanam, that is the wrong conception or misconception of the knowledge, then you are coming to the final one where it is samshaya. Samshaya is the most difficult thing which you will find in our path of spiritual thing. Doubting whether it is possible. Am I capable? Or is this knowledge correct? How will you know this? There is no way you can know it because it is nothing which is external. So only through Upanishad you will come to know about our true nature. No education system, no method in our modern methodology of teaching, even in psychology. There is no discussion about who we are or what is our nature of our true nature or our true what entity, what we call as the entity is not discussed. They will always, even the psychology will tell it is a bundle of emotions or, the thoughts and feelings. That is what you are. Yes, they are right. From what it is understood as the operational I or the altered ego or individual from the point of view, they are right. But Upanishad is the only place where it is saying that you are not even that. You are more than that, or you are the one which even the mind with which the mind is able to mind. The mind is not able to mind if because it is impaired. It will not be able to function. But you are still there. Even when your mind is not there, in the deep sleep, your mind is not functional. But you cannot deny your own existence there. So all those things are only taught by the Upanishad. And that is why there is Nanya Panda Vidyate Ayanaya. The Upanishad itself says that for this there is no other method or no other path with which you can come out of the clutches of the individuality to know who you are in reality. That is why it is important for us to remove the samshaya from our own mind to know who we are.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. Yeah. So when, in terms of the sadhana, how does one address, this, the most difficult, the doubt, the self-doubt? Is there some things you would recommend that somebody, engages on a regular basis?
The Upanishad says that avarti asakrata upadesha, that is repetition of what you have heard. Each time you listen, you get a new insight. That is the only way in which it is thing. You can listen to the lectures or you can read the text or translations. Anything which you can repeat that, the teaching of the Upanishad, you will know that each time a revelation is different from the previous one. And this is the best method which is same. And then the same thing you can do with your compatriots or similar minded people, what is called satsang, or, pariprasnena seveya, by, dedicating yourself at the feet of the Guru if you are in an ashram, and then go to the Guru whenever you are stuck with a question or a doubt and get it clarified. You don't have to remember or write it down or anything. That is why the advantage of staying with a guru in the ashram those days, older days, was very effective, because they will be coming across the guru all the time. So they can ask the question that any time, depending upon whether the guru is free to give an answer, but not disturb him when he is doing a yajna or any ritual or any of the activities. So that is another way of thing. Best thing is, now in the modern system is, you can ask the similar, like-minded people who are attending the classes, form a group, discuss with them, or you read it, listen to the lectures. There are many teachers who have given lectures. You can find them all in the YouTube. So you can listen to as many lectures as possible. Each lecture will give you a new insight. It is not that you should listen to only one lecture. You can, the same subject, if you listen to different teachers, you will get different insights into it. So which suits you best, you have to arrive at it. And that way you have to find what is the doubt and what is the solution for it. And if the solution is there, you will immediately know the solution, that is the solution. Nobody else can tell, because the doubt is in your mind. So only you will know what is the doubt is, what is clarifying that doubt. So you have to take the attempt and approach by multi-channel, ways to solve the doubts in the mind.
Yes, thank you, Binduji.
Mahodaya, can I ask a question? So
Please.
in the beginning of Taittiriya, I think that you said Taittiriya is about iti. Do I remember it correctly?
I don't use the term iti.
Okay. So I thought I heard something like that, because neti we know. Neti is there. But Taittiriya, you said something along those lines that
So Venkat is the one who always comes with the iti from that.
Okay.
So I would have replied to him for that answer, that iti will become not when you have multitude. That iti will merge into one, and that will become aham brahmasmi as a knowledge. Because the moment you have iti multitude, you are talking about sarvam khalu idam brahma root. But in the sarvam khalu idam brahma, what is that happening? Sarvatma bhava has to happen. You are not that the sarvam becomes important. Khalu idam brahma, when that part, the second part of the statement, indeed all this is Brahman, then all will have no meaning there. Because all this is nothing but water. The water is important rather than the waves and the drops and the snow and the cloud and the river, etc. All of them are water, same way. So iti will remain there only if you are nama rupena vyakaravani, if you are looking from that point of view. But when the nama rupas become Brahman, there is no separate nama rupa in Brahman.
So in a way, iti becomes neti.
Yeah. Asti brahmeti chet veda. Asti brahmeti chet veda.
Asti brahma iti chet veda.
Tatra chet means api. Chet means api only.
Api, yes. That's what, I understand that. So, Venkat, you were saying something?
I was saying the root is, I think, indicated earlier in the classes, Asti Brahmeti Ched Veda. That's also root towards all the Namarupa as well.
So,
Shobha, could you just talk a little bit louder? It is a little harder to hear you.
Oh, is it? Okay, let me try. I'll increase the volume a little bit. Better?
A little bit better.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I was. That was my question, whether he could draw a parallel between those, but now I understand that he did not say that. So it comes to the same thing, I think, right, Mohdaya? Neti, everything comes down to neti only.
Na
The
iti.
mm,
So neti is nothing but na iti.
right,
That sandhi makes it neti.
right.
So you cannot say iti.
No, no, I thought that I remember that coming up, and uh, I thought that you had mentioned it. So, but that was it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Shubha.
Oh, right. So if there's anything else on anyone on the speaker panel, please feel free to go ahead. And
I have
again,
one more question.
oh yeah, please go ahead. And also, though, anyone else would like to raise their hand regarding the ongoing Taittiriya classes or general Advaita that they feel is important to discuss with Binduji, go ahead and raise your hand. Go ahead, Jay.
Thank you. So Binduji, I want to know the balance between when to drop and when to learn. See, a few minutes ago, you beautifully said this manana is needed, repeated study is helpful. Yes. But from many years I've been reading, now you have to drop everything. There's nothing to do. Don't put effort. Effort will only corrupt you. And any effort you do is taking you away from yourself. So one part of my mind says, hey, if I put some effort, then I'm going against the will of this universe, or like I'm going away from myself. But then I also completely agree, effort is needed here. So is it like climbing the Mount Everest where you have to put the effort until you go to the top, and then after going to the top, there is no more effort needed? So when is this effort needed, and when is this effort not needed? Or in which direction is effort needed and which direction is effort is not needed?
Jay, if you are looking at a mirror and the mirror is full of dust or dirt, which is prohibiting you to see your clear face, removal of the dirt is not what makes your face clearer in the mirror. The mirror was there, it is shining, your face is being reflected, but you are not able to see your face reflected properly because of the dirt accumulated on the mirror. Now you to bring a cloth and wipe out all the dirt, and you are seeing your own face, which was there even before. There is nothing needed further for you to do anything. So what is the effort which is required to remove the vision which is being prohibited by the dirt to be removed? That is what is required. Same way here, our mind is due to our preconceived notions and accumulated memories. All those things are showing us that we are the limited individual ego. That need to be dropped. That is the one which is to be dropped. When you drop that, you are now standing face to face with you. All the example which I know, many classes I've said that when you stand stark naked, even without your mind and intellect, you will be facing yourself. That is the time when you are there. So dropping is what is you are thinking as yours or you. That has to be dropped. When you drop that, that is what happens in our deep sleep also. When you drop that, who are you? You don't know who you are. Your mind is not functioning. Your intellect is not functioning. You don't know you're a man or a woman, or you exist or not exist. You have no times, no space. Nothing is there. But you are having an experience of nothing. Or what you call that is that when you are within yourself, you cannot know anything other than that. Because Vijñātāram are kena vijaniyat. The knower becomes the known. When the knower and the known becomes, there is no difference. There is no apparent knowing. That is the state what is in the deep sleep. But we all say that it is covered with ignorance, avidya, all those things are, explanations given in the initial stages for people to understand that. But in reality, not only in deep sleep, even in waking or in dream, we are that reality. But in the waking, we think we are the waker and the ego of the Jay and the world and his problems are Jays. But the same Jay, the same entity which was in the deep sleep and the waking, is now going to enjoy a dream world. There he becomes the president of Canada or Prime Minister of Canada or President of US or President of India or Prime Minister of India or anything you can become. You can become a killer or you can become a king. You can become a beggar or you can become a rich man. Nothing. Everything is possible there. But the Jai has not undergone any change. Or the Jai, the one which was calling Jai in the waking is the same one which is present now there. But there you don't know your name, Jai. You have experiences, but you don't know your name. You don't even remember what was your face when you are in the dreamer. But your experiences you remember. So, what happens is that time, you are having only experiences. No individuality to call a name or a face. But there is an individuality as an experiencer. But not as a logical mind to analyze what is happening. It is a pure experiential world. That time also, who is the real entity is present. The one which was in deep sleep, one which was in the waking, is now present in the dream also. So when you know that, how do you know that you are the same one? Because it is that one which knew that you had a dream, you are in the waking now, you had a deep sleep. If the changes are known, the person who knows the changes has to be the only one which is common to all of them. That one which knows the change, that I went to one room A to room B to room C, that knowledge is with the individual who goes from one room to another room to another room. So that is what is called the Sakshi when the rooms are there. When there is no room, you are in the sky. There are no planets, nothing. You are the sun. There is nothing to shine also, to enlight. You are the sun. You have all the light of the sun, all the knowledge which is required. But there is nothing to be known. So you don't feel that there is your thing. That is why you feel that I knew nothing in my deep sleep. Or I knew nothing. That's state of experience when you have it that. This is exactly what there is nothing to be known. Because everything is name and form when we associate ourselves with each body. It is the same truth which is now as Jai, as Venkat, as Shobha, as Prakash or Artemisia or Bindo or anybody in the room or anybody or any animal, bird, atoms, cosmos, or you can think about different planets, anything you can think. All of them are coming from where? From that one consciousness. When it is being reflected or you associating with its own imagined name and form, that imagined name and form now becomes Jai. That imagined name and form becomes the star in the sky. That imagined tree becomes a tree. That imagined dog becomes a dog. Like that. But it is not outside it. It is all still inside. Like the objects of the dream were not outside the dreamer. But the dreamer himself went into the dream as an experiencer. But the one who projected the dream is the same one who projects the waking now. He is the one which is without the waking and the dream in the deep sleep. And really, he is the only one which is available all the time. That is how one has to really make an analysis of our experience. We have to think, is my experience, from my experiential point of view, I have to analyze it. Then only the knowledge will become mine. Listening to me, this will not become your experience or your knowledge. You have to apply it to yourself and verify it, whether what Bindu is talking nonsense, or is he talking something which I should test and try it out, or is it something which is possible at all. All those things have to be done, undertaken by you. Then only you will know what you heard is whether right or wrong. Don't believe it if it is wrong. Still keep on, but don't stop questioning that question. That questioning should continue until you find the answer yourself.
Thanks, Binduji. Thank you.
Welcome, Ganesh. Just regarding what you just said, Binduji, it reminds me of sometime maybe last spring when you spoke about how each one of us is responsible to assess what's happening with the teachers and the teachings that we go to, and that if we just can tell that, at least for us, this is not the way, or this teacher is not able to answer our questions satisfactorily, that we need to just move on and find the next thing, that there's an aspect of learning to gauge how our own path needs to be. Now, those were my own words, but I thought they were important. So, maybe I've represented what you said correctly or not. What do you think?
Absolutely. See, what is your experience, your doubt in your mind? No teacher can assess or gauge it and feel it. My example which I told in the other previous classes is that you may go to a dentist with a toothache. That which teeth is having pain, the dentist cannot say. You have to tell him. And what type of a pain you have to tell him. Then he may give a medicine for it. But after giving the medicine, that pain is going or not, only you will be able to tell that. But if that dentist has given the medicine and it is not working to you, will you go back to the same dentist? You will go once more and tell him it is not working, he may change the medicine. But if it repeats again and again, you will say that dentist is not good, let me look for some other dentist. Right? Anything which is personal, you have to satisfy yourself. Whether it is philosophy or your internal problems, psychological problems, physiological problems, or biological problems. Others can only take from symptoms and method of measurement and all. But at the end of it, you are the one who is judging it and putting the stamp of approval. That has to be, you won't cheat yourself. That much I am confident about it. And there is no end to such a person who cheats himself. He will never find the truth also. So from that point of view, you have to judge the path, practice it. Without practicing, don't come to a judgment. Just because you have pet ideas of certain philosophies or certain faith you have, doesn't mean that others are all wrong. My sincere request to everyone is that every path is the same. The packing is different, that's all. But the taste of the food is the same at the end of it. Same way, you have to try out which suits you best. Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, doesn't matter. They're all only names and forms. But don't go by the stories. Go by the philosophy of it, what matters to you. Apply it to yourself. And if you are finding your solace, your happiness, your quietude and freedom within yourself, then you are in the right track. The name and the person who is delivering is not important. You have to be absolutely truthful to yourself in that. path.
Thank you, Benderji. Just one moment, Ganesh. I just want to touch on this a little bit more because I think it's to everyone's benefit. Earlier when you were speaking, I think it was with Jay, but it might have been someone else, about effort. My view is that there's something a little bit similar related with effort in that there's something we have to feel out within ourselves about the appropriateness or not of effort, and that when it feels like, I'm a desperate person seeking on some path, scrambling with effort, it's hard to describe. It's a very different feeling of this inappropriate effort than a very sincere sort of attention effort. And also then for us ourselves, we each must recognize these moments to begin with where essentially we can sense for ourselves that the effort can be dropped in the sense of a sort of a relaxation where more of the truth shines through. It's hard to describe, but my main point is to see what you'll say, that also on this issue of effort or no effort, it's essential that we're being sensitive to ourselves and using our individual wisdom. No one can tell us when effort is appropriate and when it's not for us.
You're absolutely right, Atmisha. Our effort, who else can judge it? Our satisfaction, our freedom, that happiness which you derive on your path, nobody else can sense it. Others may feel a bit of it in the presence of others. They will feel that. But what you actually goes through, only you can go through. And you can only vouch for it. The methods may be different. The path may be different. I'm not talking about the methods and the path. The end result has to be vetted by you, stamped of approval of yours, and you will never feel like leaving that place. That is the most important aspect of it. Yad gatva na nivartante is what the Gita says that. That is the place where having reached, you don't return or you don't feel like getting out of it. Because there is nowhere to go further thereafter, because you are in everything. You are identifying yourself with all the things which is now appearing as unreal only as names and forms. And the names and forms are depending upon that one reality which you are now identifying yourself as. Not as the individual ego, but as the support even for the ego, where the ego is taking the energy from. That ego doesn't exist when you are in the deep sleep. That ego doesn't exist when you are identifying your true nature, because the ego is no more importance at that time. That what happens is that you are in an absolute freedom, bliss, and dethroned. You are not dethroned at all from that. You become the monarch or the king of that place, of all happiness. Happiness without objects. Happiness of being, where the dependency is not on anything outside, but within, in yourself. The happiness is the happiness with which you become happiness. There is nothing called two there. The words cannot explain that feeling or that state. One has to drop everything. Any ideation that the individuality, the mind, the intellect, the world, the name, the form, anything which is other than which you can think as an object or objectification possible, you have to drop that. And when you drop all of them, that na sadhanantaram mrigyam, There is no other thing to be done for that, because praptasya prapti. It is just like you are searching for the spectacles which is on your head top. Having received it, when you know that it is there, or when they say the other word which is used is that the necklace which is you thought lost hanging on your neck, only in the backside. When you turn it around, you know that, oh, it was all the way in my neck only. That is one way of telling it. That what you are looking for was yourself all the while, thinking that happiness is in the object. That is the Anandamaya Kosha which we were explaining, that it is that one which gets the happiness even in the happiness in the objects. I had explained how we feel happiness, no? We think the happiness is in the object. No. When the object is in the possession, our mind subsides with the tendency to look forward and activate. When the mind becomes quiet, the happiness within ourselves shines, and we think that it is the happiness brought because the object was now being consumed or becoming my possession. No. Our mind which was agitated became quiet, and the happiness is our nature which is now being felt. The object, if it is giving the happiness, the same object that all the time should give all the happiness to all the people. No. Some people like it, some people don't like it. The same object for you with one time which is as happy is no more happy, giving you happiness other time. A food which you think is quenching the hunger, when having a diarrhea or everything, you can't even look at the same food. Or when you are full, stomach full, somebody forcing you to have one morsel more will become punishment. So it is not in the food, it is not in the object, it is not in anything outside. The happiness is within yourself. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. That is where the happiness is lying. This, no other method can teach you, but only you have to do it yourself. Because you know what is happiness. Not the object related happiness, but the happiness without the object.
Yes, Binduji, thank you for the expression and those words. It really carried it. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much. Ganesh, you'll have all the time you need. Just reminding people, if you'd like to raise your hand, we still have a while to be together. And Ganesh, please go ahead. Welcome.
Can I add a sideline comment
Oh,
before
yes,
Ganesh goes off?
please add a sideline comment.
This Atmastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati, coming from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And while question arises in Taittiriya, there is a Yajnavalkya connection here also. That the story of he is asked to spit out what he learned with Vaishampayana, I think Dvaipayana, where he has to spit out everything here as Taittiriya Upanishad and answer some deeper questions in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And here we have Binduji, taking us through this whole journey. I think he embodied the Yajnavalkya, that whole knowledge is embodied and taking us through this. This is how I'm seeing it. We are so lucky be part of this journey, and Binduji taking us through.
Thank you.
Yes, very, very true, very beautiful. Ganesh?
Good evening, Binduji. Namaste.
Good evening.
Yeah, it was a fantastic session in the last class. I noted down so many things, and today's discussion actually gave some more clarity. But one clarification I need is that the Akasha is not born out of Atma. Atma itself is Akasha. So that is one thing, one point. And Brahman has not changed its swarupa in everything. It is same in space and time and in all the avasthas and in all the times, bhuta, bhavishyat and vartamana. And from atom to the cosmos, everything is Brahman, is the other statement. And you talked about tapas towards the end of the last lecture. And tapas is jnanam, where this jnatra-jnaya and jnanam process also they all will merge into one. And everything appears to be so because of the prani karma nimitta. So my doubt, I need clarification in that. When everything is born out of prajna, and everything appears to be so due to the namarupas, in all the three states of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, all are different states. A dreamer will think, and in dream also everything gets projected, revealed, and it subsides. And even in the waking state, it is the same. So, in that case, is the entire srishti, or whatever we feel with the senses and other things, is this entire thing is only a projection, and there is no srishti in that aspect?
It's only a projection. Because if you accept Srishti, then you are thinking of something coming out of something like Parinama. But appearance in itself and the Desha, Kala, Vastu is not separate from the substratum on which it is being called as Desha, Kala, Vastu. It is nothing but Brahman only. Brahman itself is Desha, Brahman itself is Kala, Brahman itself is the Vastu. Like the space itself is being called the space at the eye of the needle and the space of the cosmos.
Yeah.
There is no difference in it. The space in the eye of the needle, and the needle also needs space. The needle exists because of space. Without space, the needle cannot exist. Same is the case with everything. The atom also needs space. Atom occupies space. The space inside the atom where the electrons, protons, neutrons are rotating, that is also space. So without space, there is anything other than the space. But when we talk about Brahman, we are talking about a consciousness or awareness in which even the space becomes a name and a appearance. Because the name and appearance is not separate from Brahman. If you take it as separate, as a creation, Tasmat Atmana Akasha Sambhudaha, the word Sambhuda can always be misunderstood as born out of that. Samyak Bhudaha. But the word Sam as a prefix has multiple meanings. It appears to have born is one of them. Therefore, the Atmana Akasha appears to have born. In reality, it has not been born, but it took a name and form with the quality of the Shabda. Yeah. Same way, everything in the world is having a name and form, appearing to be in the same Brahman or Atman. Without Brahman or Atman, none of them will exist. Even the space in which the names and forms are supposed to be existing. So, if you look at that way, you cannot separate anything out of Brahman. Otherwise, the word Brahman will not stand to the definition. What is Brahman? Everything sarva bhutvad Brahma. It is the one which encompasses everything. That which even the space becomes embedded in it, or it is in it with the name and form. Therefore, neha nanasti kinchana. There is nothing other than that in this world or anywhere. You are that, I am that, everything is that.
So the next step that what you ended with is the how Atma is the anupravesha into all the nama rupas. I think that brings more clarity into this.
Yes. That has to be understood. What is the term when the Upanishad says that tat trishtva tadeva anupravishat? So once we understand the real implied meaning, not the apparent meaning, the intended meaning, then we will know that how we have to associate ourselves with Brahman. Because we are taking a reverse travel now. From there we came to this. Now from this to go back to that. How we can go back? Only if we know the route through which we came, we can go back to that source. So that the Upanishad is now going to detail the route through which we became what we are, so that we can trace back ourselves to that.
Thank you, Binduji. So ultimately it is the projection. The entire Srishti is projection. But it is basically the substratum Brahma itself.
Yeah, because when we say substratum also, people may take, on which it can come. Yeah. So the best example to use is the Akasha or the sky or the space. Space is the substratum for everything. But there is a substratum even for the space. That is what is Brahman. That is why Atmana Akasha Sambhudaha.
Wonderful. Thank you, Binduji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Namaste.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ganesh. We have a little bit of time left. If anyone, we could probably take another question for sure. If anyone in the audience would like to come up. Deep, we haven't talked to you in a long time. I see that you're going to come up. Lost my train of thought for a moment. Anyone who's new also, maybe you're trying to get to know us and the other way around too, feel free to use the chat in a respectful manner, although we don't always answer the questions from there. It gives us a way to get to know you. And after Deep speaks, I'm going to make an announcement about some other opportunity with Binduji. Go ahead. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, thank you. Namaste, Binduji. Sat Sri Akal.
Sat Sri Akal.
Hope you're doing well. And namaste to everybody on the panel and everybody else. So, Binduji, I mean, this has, we have been having these discussions and thoughts and our own individual, journeys. And I still, what I am unable to put together or get a handle on in these talks is, I don't want to, take a call on this is a better view or that is a better view. But I want to figure out a firm kind of stand on when we talk about, so, you were talking about this is all Brahman, we are all Brahman, right? And that sort of thing. And then there is the insistence on the fact that none of these objects actually exist, right? And to me, it seems that we are veering both ways, in the sense that we are trying to, we're trying to have our cake and eat it too, right? And so, because when we do that, then the possible contradictions that will come about when you take one stance or the other, both seem to be getting diluted. I don't know if I'm making sense, right? But for instance, I'm just saying that if we say that this is world, okay, let's go with, I think Ganesh ji, he was saying that this world is a projection. Let's say all this is a projection. Let's go with that, right? A projection is something that exists, right? So when I take a projector, I project something. The projection of it is something that exists. It doesn't mean, because there is a screen. Let's say we take that example and we say there's a screen. Yes, there's a screen, right? But the screen is going to be empty. You're not going to see a movie without the projection. So now, what is the firm stand we take? Is there a projection or is there not a projection? Which means, do we give any reality to this projection or do we not? What is the path that we are saying what is the truth that we are trying to state? If you know what I mean. I'm going back to the basics, right? But I think this is where it gets very actually, probably the crux of the inquiry happens at this level. Anyway, but this is my question. And I had a smaller question. But I'll just, I'll throw that later, but this is the main question. So let's go with that and see if we can, make some headway here.
Okay. It's very simple. When I say projection, it is not like a projector where there is a light, there is a film, there is a projector, there is a screen, and you are seeing the screen. In that there is a object. You are a third party who is observing the projection. It is not that way. I am asking you to think of a scenario where you are projecting in your mind an object of your choice. Maybe like Vinod says, a sparrow, or if you are a foodie, let us take it as an ice cream or anything in that nature. Now the ice cream is a projection of knowledge which you have in your mind as memory in the form of the detailing of the ice cream. That detailing is the film which now gets projected as a recalling of memory by the knowledge system in the whole process. The memory of the ice cream is also knowledge. The projection of the mind in which it is being projected is also nothing but knowledge in the form of thoughts. And the experience of the ice cream, which is now you are projecting and remembering, is also in the form of knowledge only. So when I say it is a projection and say that everything is knowledge, consciousness or awareness, you can use whichever term is convenient to you. It is the same thing which we call it by different names. If there had been no knowledge, there would have been no memory of the ice cream. If there had been no knowledge, the projections in the mind will not happen. And if there is no knowledge, the memory of the knowledge in the mind which is projecting will also would not have happened. So everything is Vijnana Vetirekena Nasti. That is the way in which the Upanishad says that. Vijnanam means knowledge, Jnanam or Vijnanam. Everything is nothing but the awareness or knowledge which is there. So the projection what we are talking about in the Upanishadic sense is that way the dream is a projection. You are waking and the entire waking objects as a waker onwards to the entire world is projection of the same awareness which projects your dream, which projects your deep sleep, which projects your waking. And in the waking, the world, objects, everything is nothing but awareness or knowledge. You cannot pinpoint or tell me one item which is outside knowledge which is becoming an experience for you. For that matter, we say everything is under projection of the knowledge.
Okay, so is it a projection of knowledge, or is it okay, let's go with this, right? If we speak about knowledge and we say knowledge is intimately related to memory, okay? So let's say that there is this one memory that I have, okay? Which means for me to have a memory of something, or for me to have had the knowledge of something in the first place, of an object, and I would consider even, let's say, just a thought an object, right? It doesn't have to be a physical object outside, right?
Okay.
That itself is an object, right? Now, for me to have in the first place to have had a memory or knowledge of anything, that means that first the projection has happened, right? That either I have knowledge and memory of something that has been a matter of experience, right? Now this matter of experience, and we can say that, so now what I'm saying is, we can say that what we have misconstrued, that this memory or this knowledge is of some object that is apart from my consciousness, right? That I can say. That is clear to me. That is clear that, one can say that. But can we deny that this projection, because obviously for even one memory to have happened, for anybody at all, for even one object to have been construed, for even one thought to have happened, right? Some matter of consciousness has to become involved in that process. Otherwise, that first knowledge, that first thought would not arise at all, since all
Right.
is consciousness in the first place.
Right. So that consciousness in the first place, which projects the first object, is also dependent upon the first consciousness from which that object appears. Then that becomes a memory. So it is all in consciousness or knowledge. The first object appearing, it becoming a memory, it being recalled in the memory. Nothing is outside the consciousness or awareness or knowledge. Therefore, what we say is that whether you call it as a first object, or whether you call it as a memory, or whether you call it as a recollection of memory, nothing can be outside the perimeter of the knowledge bandwidth. Therefore, the whole world is Vijnanam, Prajnanam, Brahma, I am Atma, Brahma. All these statements becomes reality only from that point of view. What we call it as Brahma is nothing but the consciousness.
And I understand that. But this is, then what I'm saying is, then if we extend that, We say that this whole world is a projection and is nothing but consciousness itself. We don't say that the world doesn't exist.
No.
That's one. Either we say that, right? Or
The,
we say
the,
that no projection happened in the first place at all.
no,
Which
no. We
is what I think that
they
Shankara always trying to say in the
no.
strictly Advait this thing,
Right.
right?
It is nothing but names and forms in the knowledge is what the world is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take out the knowledge, the name and form cannot exist. The entity doesn't have an independent existence.
I know, but what I'm saying is that what is it that creates knowledge? Or what is it that will create
Now,
knowledge?
that is what is called Brahman or Atman.
Exactly. So that means now, the moment we say that, that means something was created.
No, that was not created. It is there in which the name and form is being created.
Or okay, but what was created was the illusion that that is not Brahman. Let us say that, right? That illusion was certainly created, that this object is there, okay? Now,
That is the creation of an object as a name and form is an illusion.
yes, the creation of an object as the name and form is the illusion, right?
Yes.
But the fact that an illusion was created is true, isn't it?
Illusion was not created separate from the knowledge.
Separate
Because
from...
if it has to be created separate from knowledge, it should exist without the knowledge. So it was created within the knowledge, as that is why it is called an appearance. Not because it cannot be known separately. When it is called an appearance, the dependency of the name and form on the knowledge makes the reason why it is called an appearance. If it is created separately without the knowledge, knowledge should be separate and the name and form should be separate without knowledge.
Okay, I honestly, I'm still not, but this is going to become a much longer conversation, I think, because
It depends upon which side of the reality you are holding on to. If you are holding on to the name and form, you will not be able to see the dependency on the awareness or the knowledge. But if you are associating yourself with the knowledge or the awareness, then you can see the name and form is a dependency on yourself.
See, the word knowledge for me in this context is I think confusing when you're using the word knowledge, because you use the word knowledge in conjunction with memory, right? When I hear of knowledge in that context, right? That to me is a second-hand kind of knowledge.
I'll clarify here.
Yeah.
There is one thing called pure awareness or pure knowledge, or the knowledge as a common entity available for everything.
Yes.
But the moment I say the knowledge of a name and form, then it is a thought.
Exactly.
That is dependent on the knowledge which is pure in nature. In which, like the room is having a space, is depending upon the total space. The room itself is not a space by itself. We are having an appearance of a room in total space as the space of the room. The dependency of the room is now dependent on the total space.
So again, what we are saying is that the knowledge of name and form, let us say knowledge with a small k, is dependent on knowledge with a capital K, with pure awareness, right?
Yes, right. Absolutely.
But the moment, that's what I'm saying, the moment we make that statement, we are not saying that knowledge is an illusion, as in knowledge with a small k is an illusion. That's not the statement we are making now. That is what I'm saying. We are conflating two statements all the time. Sometimes we say that knowledge with a small k itself is an illusion, right? And at other times we say this, that it is dependent on the knowledge with the big K. And this is what I'm trying to say. That is the question I started with, that to me,
You are,
there is
yes,
conflation happening in these two. I think we are not
you
taking...
are absolutely right, Deepak. You are absolutely right, Deep.
Yeah.
That knowledge cannot be bifurcated or cannot be separated from the total. That is why we call it is the dependency on the knowledge. The small k is big K itself, but appear to be small k when we think in the name and form. That is what you have to understand, that there cannot be two Ks. There is only one K, which is the big K. The knowledge, what we're talking about, is there as pure as ever, even in the name and form. But the moment you feel a separation, are you separating it out of knowledge? If you are separating it,
Of course.
if you are not, no, you cannot separate it.
No.
If you separate it, the knowledge should be separate and the name and form should be
What I am
separate.
saying is that I am separating it out of knowledge, but I cannot put that phenomena of separation, right, as something that is outside of knowledge with a big K. What I am saying is that the phenomena of separation itself seems to be intrinsically.
That is why we are saying it is an appearance.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, it is. If it is intrinsic, it has to be an appearance. No, I agree with the fact. I agree with the fact that to construe. See, I don't have a problem with the basic idea that to construe that there is a world of names and forms and objects that exists, right? Discrete object is the truth. Definitely, right? I don't subscribe to that idea. Okay? Even I don't say that there is no name and form in the objects. It is there very much. But all I am saying is that the name and form of the world and the you or the individual and myself as a physical being is all in the big K called knowledge or awareness. I understand that, but then, okay, well then, honestly, this is exactly what my problem is, because when you say that now, to me, you don't sound like Shankara's idea, but you sound like more of an idea which is, I mean, like this is more of a Bheda idea, which is... No, it is exactly the same thing what the Brihadaranya Upanishad talks, where Shankara also has commented upon that. You come to that 4th chapter of Brihadaranya Upanishad, you will find the Yatmyavalkya Janaka, and when discussions are going on, it is the same. Vijñātaram are kena vijaniyat. How can the knower know himself? No. With vijñāna vetirekena nasti kinchit. So there is nothing outside the vijñāna or the knowledge. Okay, why don't you, can you, Binduji, tell me again which verse in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad this is, and then I'll have to do some study on my own end. And then maybe next week I'll come back with some more questions. This is where... It is in the chapter 4. You need to go through the chapter 4 of Brihadaranya Upanishad. Okay. And then... Because one statement alone, you cannot take it in isolation, because it's a thought development process. I get it. So, of course. But I'll see how as much justice I can do to it. But basically in chapter 4. Yes. So let me do some research on my end, and then, Sure. I'll come back to you. Thank you so much. That was... Thank you. Any minor question which you said you had? Oh, I was just wanted to ask that the Prasthanatraya, the idea of Prasthanatraya, right? Yes. One, where does it come from? And two, what does it imply? What does it mean?
See, the word Prasthanatraya and the methodology of Prasthanatraya requirement as part of the philosophical inquest was started during Shankara's time, but it was prevalent even before that, but it became as mandatory that anybody to be called an Acharya or Guru or a philosopher, he has to write commentaries on the three Prasthanatraya. But that was not there when Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshika was going on, and even during the time of Buddhas and Jainas, philosophies were being popular in the world. But when Shankara came and re-established the Vedic system, he made it mandatory that from his time onwards, anybody who is coming should write a commentary on all the three. Therefore, the Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vallabhacharya, all of them started commenting on the Prasthanatraya.
So is it safe to say, is it safe to say then that the idea of a Prasthanatraya, which was really, these scriptures all existed before, but putting them in this Prasthanatraya was Shankara's work himself?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. All right. Because obviously Prasthan meaning some sort of a setting forth, right?
Yes.
Right? So it's a
Right.
kind of like you set out. So, from first glance, it seems that he's saying that you can set out. Of course, the formalities of being called Acharya and all, to me, I think those might be secondary. But I think what he's suggesting is that you can Prasthan, you can start through any of these modes. Seems like
It's called the three pillars.
Yeah, right. Okay, great. That's the minor question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deep. Atmisha?
Yes. So I did close hand raising. This has been really good. I'm really personally glad you came up, Deep. Your questions are very clear, and I think for people in a certain mindset that I also come from a lot, they're very pertinent. So thank you. And I remember maybe a year or so ago when Bindaji directed me to that fourth chapter. You'll be busy for more than a week. For sure. So I encourage you personally to take your time and enjoy that. It was beautiful. It's beautiful, and I barely know the surface of it. There's one thing that I want to mention, and Bindaji can clarify on this today that was important. This was mentioned one other time. So there was a class that happened, well over a year ago. And it was in a different forum, not on Clubhouse. And for various reasons, I believe as modeling certain approaches in some ashrams and so forth, we covered, among other things, we were going to cover the first 4 Brahma Sutras with Bindaji. I think Shobha had a lot to do with originally setting this up, if I'm not mistaken. At any rate, we got through the first 3 of the Brahma Sutras, which are part of these, of course, the full Brahma Sutra is part of these 3 pillars that were just being discussed. The intent was simply to do the first 4. And what I discovered in my own learning was how very, very important these are. Of course, the very beginning of the Brahma Sutras, the commentary by Shankara, is the Adhyasa Bhashya, which is fundamental in understanding this Advaita. At any rate, we got through the first 3, and I believe it's about 8 recordings. So 8 full classes covered the first 3. Those are on the YouTube Advaita Retold. Now, why are we discussing this, and Bindo will comment on it, is due to the situation with Bindo's life, we did not go into the 4th Brahma Sutra, and he wants to complete that for those of us who were there, but also to make an invitation to others who would be, serious about the commitment to do this important study. The requirement would be to go through the prior recordings and study those. It'll be done in a different venue than Clubhouse to continue. So there can be a screen share, the English and the Sanskrit also. being from the outside in a way, from the U.S. myself, I would say don't decide whether this might be for you by just listening to me or Bindo. Go to YouTube and start listening to those recordings. Because they're very clear and they're very important. If you decide that this is very important to you, then the requirement, like I said, before we start in March would be to listen to those recordings, and you would reach out directly to Bindoji. His email is in his profile. And we do have the back channel on Clubhouse, but right now where it's mixed with houses, it can be very difficult to even notice someone's back channel. So personally, I recommend you would reach out by email to Bindo and communicate with him if this is the right thing for you. And then those will be held on a separate for me it's evening, IST, and it would not be brief. There would be, from what I understand, in the neighborhood of maybe 10 weeks of class, for that fourth, Brahma Sutra. And, I didn't think to do this, but, in the 2 volumes of 8 Upanishads, I'll post this in a house chat if I am able to after the room. If you go and you look, it's not an Upanishad. In the, give me a moment. In the full Brahma Sutra Bhashya translation, you would notice that the 4th Brahma Sutra's commentaries by Shankara are extremely long. But it's worth reading them, in my opinion, ahead, because I did go ahead and read those. So that was a lot, but if this is calling you, we aren't going to announce it very much. If you have any questions, you can use Bindo's email. And I apologize that I normally respond to people's back channels if it's related to this house, but the way that it's appearing on my phone right now, I'll probably miss you if you try to back channel me on Clubhouse. So it's a very unique opportunity. Bindoji, would you like to just clarify anything on that, and then we'll go ahead and close this room. If you have questions on that, you can email Bindoji. Bindoji, do you want to please clarify if I have, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Atmisha. Thank you, Prakash, Venkat, Jai, Ganesh, Deep, and Shobha, who came up for the questions. The detail is the 4th sutra of the Brahma Sutra, being Tad Tussamannayat, is all about the first 4 sutras, if one goes through, will be embarking upon the Advaitic study in the proper manner. Starting from the Adhyasa, which has been conveyed in the first sutra. So which I have covered by the 8 lectures with the screen sharing. That is available in the YouTube channel called, Prakash has put that detail in the chat. Otherwise, if you can look at Advaita Retold is the caption or the title of the room. And the handle is Advaitic Talks, at the rate Advaitic Talks, if you can search that. But you can also reach across to me by advaitictalks@gmail.com for my email. I can add you to the group. This will be done in the venue or the app called freeconferencecall.com. Please, it's not free conference, but it is freeconferencecall.com, where you can either have a mobile app or your laptop. But I'll be sharing my screen with the Sanskrit and English translation. All these things will start only after the 9th Anuvaka of the present Taittiriya is completed, because this is really, I am taking it without the screen sharing in the similar fashion, by reading this line by line, explaining word by word, and then the complete explanation. The similar will be the method. Only thing is that that channel, freeconferencecall.com, we can share the screen so that because here I am not sharing the entire Shankara's Bhashya in Sanskrit and English here. There I am doing that. So, but you will get a idea how I have done that for the first 3 sutras by going to the YouTube channel and look for Brahma Sutra. Chatussutri is the word which is given. Chatussutri means the 4 sutras, out of which I have covered 3. The 4th one is pending. I could not do it due to my medical emergency. And now I feel that once the Taittiriya Brahmanandavalli is covered, if I will embark upon the Chatussutri side by side on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays evening 7:30 to 8:30, 1 hour of the screen sharing and all. After that will be the similar Q&A which is happening here in this room also. So those who complete the 3 sutras with the 8 lectures before the 4th one is commenced, they are free to join. But if you are not going through the 8 lectures of the previous sutras, you will not find the 4th sutra, completely. You will miss out a lot of things because it's all related. So I would recommend those who are coming for that lecture to complete the 3 sutras of the 8 lectures which I have covered, so that you are familiar with the class modality and the place where I will be giving the link to the app as well as for the website before my classes. One day before I will send out the notification where you can have the link and you can attend the classes. But those who want to get the email, they have to write to me to add their email into the Google groups. Please send me your Gmail based address into the Google mail to my advaitictalks@gmail.com. I will add the names into the Google group. And if you have any questions, you can send to me a private email in my advaitictalks@gmail.com. I will reply to you. And that's it. Thank you all for today's Q&A session. We'll meet you on Wednesday with the continuation of the Anupravesha. Anything else, Atmishya?
Yeah, before we end, I was able to locate and put into the bottom of the chat the direct link to the series of the 8 classes that have already occurred, so that no one would have confusion navigating through that YouTube channel where there are many classes. So it's in the bottom of the chat. And if you haven't grabbed it before we close and you want it, you can go into the replays and go to the bottom, and it should take you directly to those 8 classes. That's everything, Bindo. Unless Prakash, do you have anything, or should Bindo close us? He probably has his phone sitting somewhere else, which he does sometimes. So, and listening to it. So, Bindo, go ahead and we'll close, and we'll see anyone who wants.
Okay. So, thank you all once again. The link is given by Atmishya. You can go to that series of 8 lectures, and see you all on Wednesday. Hari Om. Good night.
I know.
Yeah,